Stop what you're doing right now, because if you drive in the UK and you have a dash cam mounted on your windscreen, there is a new law that just quietly came into force, and most drivers have no idea it exists. It could affect whether your footage is even usable, whether you're breaking data protection rules without knowing it, and whether you could end up facing a complaint to the Information Commissioner's office. Stay with me for the next few minutes, because by the end of this video, you will know exactly what changed, who it actually affects, and the simple steps you need to take to stay on the right side of the law. Let's start with the headline news. On the 19th of June 2026, the Data Use and Access Act received royal assent. This is one of the biggest updates to UK data protection law in years, and it directly touches how cameras, including dash cams, are allowed to record and store footage of other people. The provisions affecting data protection law and the privacy and electronic communications regulations are now fully in force. That means the rules are not coming. They are already here, and they apply to every driver, every business, and every fleet operator across the country. Now, before you panic and rip your dash cam off the windscreen, let's be clear about something important. Dash cams themselves are still completely legal in the UK. There is no ban, there is no special license you need, and you do not need to inform the DVLA that you have one fitted. What has changed is not whether you can use a dash cam, but how you are expected to handle the footage it captures, especially footage that includes other people. Here is the first thing every driver needs to understand. If you are using your dash cam purely for personal reasons, in your own private car, to protect yourself in the event of a crash or an insurance dispute, you are still covered by what is called the household exemption. This means you do not need to put a warning sticker in your car, and you do not need to register with the Information Commissioner's office. The vast majority of everyday drivers fall into this category, and for you, very little has actually changed in terms of day-to-day driving. But here is where things get serious, and this is the part that catches so many people out. The moment your dash cam use moves beyond simple personal protection, the rules tighten dramatically. If you are a taxi driver, a private hire driver, a delivery courier, or you run any kind of fleet of vehicles for your business, you are now expected to treat your dash cam footage as personal data under GDPR, and that comes with real legal obligations. So what exactly do those obligations look like? First, if your vehicle carries passengers or customers, you need to display a visible sign that lets people know they are being recorded. This is not optional anymore. Passengers have a right to know when a camera is filming them, and hiding that information can put you in breach of data protection law. Second, you need a proper privacy notice, explaining how the footage is used, how long it is kept, and who it might be shared with. You don't need to hand this out inside the vehicle, but your sign needs to point people to where they can find it. Often a simple web page will do. Third, and this catches a huge number of small business owners off guard, if any of your work vehicles have a dash cam or a CCTV style camera fitted, you are required to register with the Information Commissioner's office and pay a data protection fee. For most small businesses, that fee sits around £52 a year. It sounds small, but failing to register is exactly the kind of thing that gets flagged when a complaint is made, and complaints are becoming more common as more people learn about their rights under this updated law. Now let's talk about audio, because this is one of the most misunderstood parts of dashcam law. Recording video on a public road has always been fine. You are allowed to film other road users without asking their permission first, because you are in a public space. Audio is a completely different story. If your dash cam is capturing sound inside the cabin of your vehicle, and you have passengers who have not agreed to being recorded, you could be crossing a serious privacy line. The safest and most common approach, especially for taxi drivers and private hire operators, is to switch off interior audio recording entirely and only enable it in exceptional circumstances. For example, if there is a genuine threat to personal safety. Most modern dash cams let you mute audio with a single tap, so there is really no excuse not to get this right. Next, let's talk about something almost every dash cam owner has thought about doing at least once, and that's sharing footage online. Maybe you caught a dangerous overtake, a road rage incident, or something genuinely funny happening on your commute. Before you upload that clip to YouTube, TikTok, or Facebook, you need to think carefully. If that footage clearly shows someone's face or their number plate, you have just become what the law calls a data controller. That means you are now personally responsible for how that person's identifiable information is used and shared. If they complain, and people absolutely do complain, you could find yourself dealing with an ICO investigation over a video you thought was just a bit of harmless content. The fix is simple. Blur faces and number plates before you post anything publicly. There are free tools that do this automatically now, so there really is no good reason to skip this step. Let's also cover storage, because this is another area where the new rules apply real pressure, especially to businesses. Data protection law includes something called the storage limitation principle, which basically means you are not allowed to hold on to personal data for longer than you actually need it. For fleet operators, the recommendation is to delete footage after about a week unless it's specifically needed for an ongoing incident or insurance claim. Sitting on weeks or months of old recordings that you don't need is exactly the kind of thing that puts you at odds with the law. So if you manage a fleet, now is a good time to check your retention settings and make sure old footage is actually being cleared out automatically. One more thing that trips people up, and this applies whether you're a private driver or a business owner. If you ever change the reason you're using your dash cam, you need to update your privacy notice, and if you have employees, you need to tell them before you make the change. Let's say you started out using dash cams purely for insurance protection, and later you decide to start using that same footage to monitor how your drivers are performing on the road. That's a completely different purpose, and under the new rules, your staff have a legal right to know about that shift before it happens, not after. Now let's talk about the good news, because it's not all warnings and compliance headaches. Dashcam footage remains hugely valuable, both for individual drivers and for the police. Every police force across England and Wales now runs a portal, commonly branded as Operation Snap or the National Dash Cam Safety Portal, where you can upload footage of dangerous or careless driving directly to your local force. Tens of thousands of submissions go through this system every single year, and a significant proportion of them lead to warnings, driver education courses, fixed penalties, or in serious cases, prosecutions. If your dash cam is installed correctly and you're following the basic privacy rules we've just covered, your footage remains just as powerful as evidence in court and with your insurer as it always has been. Insurers still love dashcam footage too, and many still offer a discount of around 10 to 15% on your premium if you fit one and agree to share footage when a claim is disputed. So let's bring this all together into something simple you can actually act on today. If you're a private driver using your dashcam just for your own protection, relax. You're almost certainly fine exactly as you are. Keep your camera mounted correctly out of the wiper's swept area, so it doesn't obstruct your view and doesn't fall foul of the highway code. If you ever plan to post footage online, blur any faces and plates first. If you're a taxi driver, private hire driver, courier, or you manage a fleet of vehicles, this is your call to action. Check whether you're registered with the Information Commissioner's Office, put up visible signage in your vehicles, write or update your privacy notice, mute your interior audio by default, and set up a proper deletion schedule so old footage doesn't sit around longer than it needs to. The bigger picture here is that dash cams are not going anywhere. They remain one of the smartest and cheapest pieces of protection any driver can have fitted, especially with staged crashes and disputed claims becoming more common on UK roads. What has changed in 2026 is the level of responsibility that comes with capturing footage of other people. And honestly, most of the fixes are quick, cheap, and take less than an hour to put in place. Ignoring them is what gets people into trouble, not the dash cam itself. If this video helped clear up the confusion around the new rules, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, because I'm going to keep bringing you clear, practical breakdowns of exactly what changes in UK driving law mean for you, without the legal jargon and without the scaremongering. Drop a comment and let me know whether you drive privately or professionally, because that changes exactly which of these rules actually apply to you, and I'll do my best to answer as many as I can. Thanks so much for watching, stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget, subscribe to my channel, and make sure you subscribe to my channel so you never miss an update like this one.